Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of One Man Stream. Today's episode is kind of a milestone for us. This is episode 70, and today's topic is utilizing lists for video and audio playout. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a little bit. I'm actually prepping for the upcoming football season, and that's what's caused me to put together this particular vMix UTC setup. Before we get started, I'd like to ask everyone if you have a moment to stop by our website, onemanstream.com, where we have all the previous tutorials along with many of the graphics that we created. We do have a store there, and you can purchase most of the graphics that I've demonstrated in these tutorials, and they're just a few dollars a piece, but it's a small way to help support One Man Stream. So this is a layout that I was referring to, and it's basically a football layout. But what makes this different than some of the layouts that I've done before are these two windows right here, and then these buttons over here, and I'll show you the automation that I put into these buttons over here. So first of all, we're going to create a couple lists, and I'm going to show you how we do that. And then after we create those lists, we're going to populate those lists with different elements. This one right here is the audio clips, and this one right here is the video clips. And I'll just go ahead and show you how this works real quick. We'll just pick, let's pick this one right here and click play. And you should be able to hear that audio playing. Now, some of the automation that I've done with this is when I click the play audio, it's automatically going to mute the microphone over here that says talent. Let me go ahead and do this. Let's lock this setup and get rid of all these designations. So over here, if you look under audio, we have master, talent, audio clips, and video clips. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click the audio clip again. And when I click the audio clip, there's a few things happening. The talent microphone here, you'll see this little button right here that has like the volume icon. You'll see when I click the audio button that this icon right here goes red, which means it's muted. And then you'll be able to see that the audio is starting to play. So let's do that once more. So when I push this button, the talent mics get muted and the audio starts to play. Now this one right here, when I click this, it's actually going to be moving this video spot to preview, so you're not going to be able to see our desktop right here, but I'll show you how that works. I'm going to click this video play button.
Tired of paying 10%, 15%, or more to sell your cards, comics, and digital collectibles? How does 1% sound? Too good to be true?
And you'll have to take my word for it. It did the same thing. When I clicked the play video button, the talent was muted, and over here where it says video clips, you could see the playback going on over here. Now this is just a regular football setup that I've done, and you can see this in previous tutorials, but I'll just kind of highlight this real quick. Let's go ahead and bring in on an available overlay. We'll go ahead and bring this in. And you can see right here where the visiting team is right here, the home team is right here, and these are text widgets. So if I wanted to change this one from mail to DeSales, I do that, and you can see that it immediately changes. We'll go ahead and change that back to mail. And these two right here are text field widgets, and then I have them mapped to the individual fields within those graphics. This next part here is for the mascot. That's on a different overlay. I'll go ahead and show you that overlay real quick. This is our opening overlay. And right here where it says home team mascot, we have it set up for mail. But if I go through my drop-down menu, as I click through these, you can see right here that mascot is changing. Go ahead and pick another one. And let's put it back to what it was. And this particular widget is also a list widget, and I bring this in. If you look under these two buttons here, save list and load list, that is how I bring this list in. I actually create the lists in Notepad, and then I import them using this load list button right here. And this is a text field widget as well. As I changed the record for the male bulldogs, how it changed in the graphic right there. This is how we keep score. So we're going to clear this graphic and go back to the previous one we had. So let's say Butler just scored a touchdown. We're going to go ahead and give them 6. It changes it to 18. And then we're going to give them 1 point for the PAT, and their score changes to 19. These right here, these widgets right here are score widgets, and we have it mapped to the scoreboard graphic. And then for this particular one here, this is the visiting score. Same thing for this one here. We're going to map it to the same graphic, but for this one, we're doing the home score. And like I said, there are several tutorials that I've done previously that relates to creating these kind of buttons and this type of scoreboard, and I will direct you to those tutorials for more information. These next 2 buttons, these are also list widgets. You can see right now in the scoreboard it says final, but if I click on this, it's going to take us to the first half. It's going to take us to the second half, and so forth. So we're going to put it back to final. To the left of final, you can see an open box there. That is actually where the clock goes. So normally what I do is I put a camera on the clock, and then I bring it into this area right here where it says clock. For timeouts, I have the timeout set up. Each team has 3. So we'll get rid of 1 for Butler. We'll get rid of the second timeout for Butler, and we'll get rid of the third timeout. So we'll click these, and then let's look at the magic behind these buttons. Okay, these are just button widgets. And what I've done is, and you've seen this in several other tutorials that I've done, and I will point you to those tutorials now. What we're using is the setXVisible function, and what that allows us to do is turn different elements of a particular graphic off and on. So that's all we're doing. I brought in 2 sets of 3 white dots, 3 for the visiting team, 3 for the home team, and then all we're doing is we're turning those individual dots off and on. If we click the T here for the title index, you can see all the different elements within this particular graphic. We are working with the home team, so what we're looking is H timeout 1, H timeout 2, H timeout 3. You can see right here 5 corresponds to H timeout 3. So when we're clicking this toggle button, when we're setting the X visible, or when we're running the command set X visible, all we're doing is we're turning this little source off and on. I didn't mention it, but this is also a list widget. This is our down and distance. And we just have to use the drop down menu to change the down and distance as we need to. So that was a little bit of an overview of the controls for the scoreboard. Now what we're going to focus on today are these 2 bits of information right here, and I'm going to show you how we did that. We did that by creating a couple lists. So let's click on the list button. Okay, so what I did is when I created the inputs, I came over here and I clicked add input, and I clicked on list. Okay, so I just click on list and I click OK, and what it does is it brings in or it forms a list for me. And this here I actually have 2. The video clips are in list 9, and the audio clips are in list 8. So let's go to clips 8 and 9, or inputs 8 and 9, and here's input 8. So this one right here for audio clips, you can see from these controls we can add, edit, remove, shuffle, and then down here we have play out, auto next, which means it'll just go right through this list. It completes one and goes to the next. Auto first means it's automatically going to take you to the first item in that list, and then loop means it's just going to keep playing until you tell it to stop. Now I don't use these buttons here because in my setup I have these buttons over here, and I have automations with these buttons. So I set up my own buttons to operate the audio. Actually, it's these buttons right here. And I set up my own buttons to operate this audio along with some other automation that I put in here. We'll click the drop-down menu here, and we'll go to video. You would do the same thing if we wanted to add a video. So let's say we want to add this one right here. We just click on it. It brings up this box right here. Say we wanted to add this one. We just click on it, and then we click open. And you can see it brings it in right here. We'll go ahead and highlight it and click on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, March 4th, Sunny and the Comet production coming to you live from Veterans Memorial Coliseum. We got a whole stock card lined up for you guys.
And then we stop the video and it brings us back to right here. So let's take a look at some of the automation that we have. You might be wondering about this right here. This is actually the topic of an upcoming tutorial. This is going to pop up the information on the individual clips that we're either listening to or viewing. It's going to tell us what the input number is. It'll tell us what the name of the clip is. It'll tell us where in the clip it currently is, the position in the clip. It'll tell you the duration, how long the clip is. It'll tell you if the state of the clip, whether it's running or paused, tell you whether it's muted or not with a true or false response. It'll tell you if you have it set to loop with a true or false response, and then it'll tell you what the volume is. And we're doing this using data sources within vMix, using the vMix API. And all we're doing is we're bringing in the XML information that's provided within vMix, and then we're utilizing that data through data sources and then through the title editor to map these individual pieces. That's how that works. Let me see if I can show you how that works real quick. You can see that the position is counting up. It's showing you the duration. It's the state change from being paused to running. I can mute it if I mute it. You can see where the mute changes to true. Then I'll unmute it and it goes back to false. I don't have it looped. If I did have it looped, see where loop changes to true. And then there's the volume right there. So I stop.
Hi, this is Paul McCartney on behalf of RAD. If you're drinking, you can't drive my car or any car. And remember, don't drink and drive. It's just not worth it.
But you can do something between. Baby, you can drive my car.
And you can see how that works, but that's going to be the focus of an upcoming tutorial. So now let's go ahead and look in these buttons right here. When I click the play audio, as I showed you earlier, there's a few things that happen. So let's see what's going on behind these buttons right here. So when I click play audio, the first thing we're doing is we're executing a link that says play audio, and then we're executing a second command that says toggle mute B, toggle mute B, which means we're toggling the mute on and off for bus B, and bus B is where we have the talent. This right here is bus B. Where did these links come from? Well, let's go up here. When I created this as a playlist widget, and I'll just go up here to where it says widgets, and right here is where it says playlist. So you would click on that and create a playlist widget. So when I did that, I checked the boxes over here to the left of these items. One is previous item for previous audio, play or pause. I have that link set up as play audio, and then next item, I have that set up as next audio. And you have to select the input, and I selected the input which had all the audio clips on it, and for me that was input number 8. Let's go over here to the video clips. Same thing, I selected video clips. When you create a list, both of those actually appear in the list here as an individual input. So you can select either the audio or the video. So also check these buttons over here for previous video, for previous item, play video for play out, and then for the next item, I chose the link next video. And that's where these come in. If you recall, it was play audio, and then where did this come from for the execute link for toggle mute B? Well, that's going to be up here. And when I set this up, toggle bus B, I check the box right here to toggle the bus, and then there's also another choice that you can make for toggle muted. So that's actually what we're using on that execute link, toggle mute B for toggle to toggle the mute off and on this particular bus. So that's where these two come from. So when I click this, you're going to see two things going on. You're going to see the audio start here in the audio clip, and then you're going to see this button right here go to red, which means it's muted. And indeed, that's what happens. Now this right here, there was an entire tutorial devoted to how to create these fade buttons here, so I won't go over that again, but I'll just click on the button to show you. It's entitled Audio Fade Automation, and that will tell you everything you need to know about how to create these fader buttons here. So when you click that button, execute link, we want to turn the talent mic back on, because a lot of times we're going to be using this as a bump. So we want the talent to be able to come in whenever they want once we start to fade this bump music out. When we set the volume fade, there's two parameters we have to set. We have to set the volume. In this particular instance, we want the volume to go to 0 over 3,000 milliseconds, which is 3 seconds. Then we put in a timer of 4 seconds, and that's so it doesn't go right from this to the next item, because if it did that, it would start to fade and then it would pause it, so we wouldn't get that fade effect like we want. As you know, there's not a stop function within vMix, so we have to use pause and reset. And what that's going to do is that's going to pause the clip. This is going to reset the clip so it's ready to go next time. Then we put another timer in here after everything is done, and we reset the volume so the volume will be audible, so we'll be able to hear it once we start the fade next time. Because if you remember, we're fading it to 0. We have to put in a command to reset that audio back up so it's not at 0 when we activate that clip again. So that's how we did these two buttons. Very similar for the play video. Execute link, clear all. So I want to make sure that I have no overlay channels on, so I want to clear all overlay channels. Then we use that link, play video. And then we are going to, once again, while the video is playing, we don't want to hear the talent, so we're going to mute their bus as well. So the only one that I didn't show you was the clear all, and that comes from right here. I set this up, execute link for clear all the overlays, and there's a function that's called overlay input all off, and that's how we turn all the overlay inputs off. You can also set them up for the individual overlays. So let's click this. And you can see right here we're using a different command, overlay input X off, and you have to put in what overlay number that you're dealing with. So we're on this particular button, we're setting overlay 4 off. So it'd be the same command for all of these buttons, except we're just designating a different overlay channel. This is overlay channel 1, overlay channel 2, overlay channel 3, and as I showed you, overlay channel 4. So let's go ahead and look at this. This is the bump music that we use. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to go ahead and turn Talent's mic off, and then I'm going to click the bump button, and you'll be able to see and hear what's going on. Then I'm going to click on the fade button, and we'll be doing, hey, welcome back to blah, 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 whatever, as the music's fading down. So let's take a look at these two buttons. All we're doing is we're playing the bump music, then we're executing a link which says talent on. And then something else that I do anytime we're coming back from a commercial break, I want to make sure that the logo for the particular promotion that we're doing automatically comes back on. So you may be able to see that when I play this. So let's go. And you can see up here in the upper left-hand corner the Glycod logo, which came in. Then we'll go ahead and fade it down. The only other thing I wanted to show on this particular setup is right here. We have a button right here that says show animated graphic. I'm going to click on that. and it brings in that right there. I'll click on it again, it's going to go away. All this information is actually being brought in, and I'll show you, through DataSources with an Excel spreadsheet, and this is the information that's being brought in. And I'll show you the spreadsheet. All right, and here's the spreadsheet that I'm using. And all it's doing is it's pulling this information in to that graphic that I created. And let's bring that graphic up. And I'm going to click on Title Editor. And you can see the different elements within this graphic. There's not a whole lot. We have an image, and that image is actually what's being right here. And then under text, we have this main text body right here. We have this, which is the top rectangle subject text, and this is just top rectangle text. So this right here corresponds to the team record, and this one right here corresponds to the team name. And so all we did is we mapped these through DataSources. So we clicked on DataSources. You can see where it brings in the Excel spreadsheet, Excel/CSV. There's only one page in the spreadsheet. It's entitled Graphic Layout. And then we have the columns. We have graphic image, team name, record, and text. And those are actually headings in the spreadsheet. And you'll see right here under DataSources, under Settings, that I checked this box right here that says Use First Row of Column Names. And those column names came from the spreadsheet that I use. Let's see if I can bring that back up again. And you can see the column names right here: graphic image, team name, record, and text. Team name, record, and text. And vMix DataSources pulls all this information in, and then that allows me to map this information to the individual elements on the graphic. That will conclude our tutorial for today, which was episode number 70, where we showed you how to utilize lists for audio and video playout. I hope you found it informative and fun. Don't forget to stop by our website, onemanstream.com, where we have the graphics that we've been creating throughout this series, along with some of the UTC, the vMix UTC setups that we've created along the way. And lastly, make sure you tune in to our next tutorial, where I'm going to show you how we make this graphic here. We'll create this graphic in vMix GT Title Designer, and then I'll show you how to use the vMix API and DataSources as XML to bring the information in that vMix is populating in the background, so you can bring it in and follow your audio and video clips along as you're playing them through your production. As always, if you like what we're doing here at One Man Stream, please give us a thumbs up and a like, and make sure that you do subscribe so that you'll be alerted as soon as new videos are posted. Thank you very much.